بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. The subject of fiqh, we have started with the chapter of Taharat, and we discussed about Kurr water. In the last session, what remained is issue 24, that what are the ways we know that the water is Kurr or not. As we said, Kurr water is a special size, which its length, width and height is 3.5 span by 3.5 span by 3.5 span. Sometimes we come to a place, if we are a guest somewhere, or we are in a village or in a small area, and that is the only water available for removing najasat, for cleanliness, so we don't know, is it Kurr or not Kurr, and sometimes it's difficult to get the depth of it to know, or the size of it. So what to do? Now issue in 24 is explaining that. Say there are two ways of establishing that the quantity of water is equal to a Kurr. First, a person should be sure about it himself. Two men who are just should say so. Naturally, if two men who are just say it is Kurr, that is two just witness and their testimony is accepted. But sometimes two just people are not there, one himself should be sure. That assurance, either I personally check it myself, so I am sure about it, or if somebody tell me I trust him 100% and I am sure what he says is right, so that I accept his testimony. Suppose you have a tank of water in the roof of the house, and you send your son to check if it is Kurr or not. Well, if the son doesn't know and is not very particular in the size, he go and come and say, "Oh, say, mommy, it is Kurr," So that is not the case, You can't accept it as it is Kurr like that, But if you know that he's exact, he will go and he check. There is a limit, there is maybe a boundary you have put or whatever. So what he says will make you sure that it is right. That is okay. Then he said, if one himself is sure about it. Now, sure here, two ways. Sometimes sure means certain. Certain, as we said, means 100% certain. Well, some ulama said he has to be certain, 100%. According to Ayatullah Al-Sistani, he said either certain or he's sure, atminan. Let us say 95, 96, 97% he is sure that what is said is true. And that is sufficient. Not always we need 100% certainty. Sometimes to be sure is sufficient. So that is about Kurr water. We come to the second type of water, which is under Kurr water. Issue 25. Under Kurr water means water which does not spring forth from the earth and its quantity is less than a Kurr. Why he said does not spring forth from the earth? Because that will come about the well water. If the well water is under Kurr, but still if you take it, there is continuous water from underground will come to it. It has a separate issues. It might be taken as Kurr water, not under, though size of water in the well is under Kurr, but because it is continuous with water underground, it has a different issues which is going to be discussed. So he said what we mean by under Kurr water is that amount of water which is less than a Kurr, and it is not like the well in which there is continuous water coming to it, which usually whatever buck we have or a small amount of water we have, or even the banyo of the bathroom is usually under Kurr water. So that is what we are discussing about under Kurr water. So what are the issues related to it? Here it comes one by one. Issue 26. You see, if under Kurr water is poured on something which is a najis, or if a najis thing contact it, it becomes najis. But if such water is poured with the force on a najis object, only that part which contacts it will be najis. And the water which has not reached the najis object will be pak, as we said, pak means tahir, now, let us say we have a glass of water which is under Kurr water. It is a glass of water that is under Kurr. And if my finger is najis, for example, now if I put the finger in the glass, naturally all the water will be najis and my finger will not be tahir. And if I get it in contact, but continuous contact, again, it's the same. But if I pour it from up down, though the water theoretically is continuous down and up, but because it's coming from up down, only that part which touch the najis will be najis. Rest of the water which is in the glass will not be najis. So the way to clean with under Kurr water, if we want to clean, first we have to remove original impurity. If there is a blood, if there is a stool, there is urine, whatever. If there is oil, let us say, from pig or something else, whatever najis oil or non-halal meat, whatever najis things are there, we remove original impurity and then we pour water on it. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Details will come how many times should be. Some of the things 1 time, some 2 times, some 3 times. Those details will come later on. But the way of a cleanliness is just to pour on it, and that way it gets clean. Issue 27, under Kurr water, which is poured over a najis object to remove the essential najasat, will be najis as it flows after the contact. Similarly, the under Kurr water, which is poured over a najis thing to wash it after the essential najasat has been removed, will be najis as an obligatory precaution. What does that mean? We have the word ma al-ghusala, the water of washing, that word-to-word translation. You see, if there is original impurity here, if you, let us say urine is there, the first wash, urine will go out with the first wash. You are pouring water. The water which comes down naturally, the first wash, because of original impurity, the washed water is najis. Now, the finger has no original impurity, but it is contaminated by najasat, and the first wash will not make it clean. Now, second wash, now to be clean. What about the water which is coming down? We call the washed water, the ghusala. He said, as a precaution, that one, first one, is also najis. Generally speaking, it is said the last wash by which the organ of the body or the cloth or the carpet, whatever it is, will be clean, its washed water is tahir. The last wash. Now, if you wash it 1 time and it will be clean, okay, then after 1 time it will be clean. But if you are supposed to wash it 2 times, so the first time when you wash it, the washed water is najis. Second time when you wash it, it will be tahir, and the water which comes out is also tahir. If it is a 3 time to be washed, so the first time and the second time, the washed water is najis. Only third time will be tahir. This is important because if you are washing your hand, let us say with a small water on a wash basin or on the floor, and if you put the water and it will gush on your cloth will be najis. So you have to be careful to get it away of your body or any place where it is down, or if the wash basin, then let only the wash basin will be najis with the first wash, because water will gush on the wash basin. So it will make it, and if the drop jump to your cloth will be najis. So you have to be careful. These details are to know how to purify the najis object, whether a body or utensils or hand of a child, for example. You get the hand of your child because it is najis, you have to wash it, and you don't have running water, tap water, you have little water. You are in traveling, you are in the car or in the garden or in the park, anyway, So when you use the first washed water, should be away of splash to your body. You keep it away should not splash to your body. Maybe the second or third one is tahir. That details, of course, is going to come. So only to know that what is called ghusala, or the washed water, it has special issues in fiqh. So he said the ghusala, the washed water of original impurity, is najis. But after original impurity removed, the first wash, according to precaution of Ayatullah Al-Sistani, said the first wash is najis as well. You have to avoid it. Now, issue 28, the water with which the outlet of urine and stool are washed does not make anything najis, subject to the following 5 conditions. Now you see, if you go to village or you go to Hajj, well, even if you are traveling, not at home, and you don't have what you call a shower to wash yourself in the toilet, and usually most of the bathrooms in the Western countries are without showers, with little water, with a bucket you wash yourself. Now when you wash yourself, naturally there is a splash of water. And if you are in desert and sitting on the ground, there is a splash of water there. What about that splash of water? Is it also najis or not? If it is najis, then it will make your legs or shoes or cloth, whatever splash will come, will make it najis. So what about that? He said, well, that is one of the issues on Taharat. He said, the water by which we wash outlet of urine and stool is tahir, supposed 5 conditions are fulfilled. That 5 conditions are mentioned. First, it does not have the smell, color or taste of najasat. I mean, it should not have color, smell, taste of urine or stool. Well, I mean, usually not, but you have to be careful. Secondly, extra najasat has not reached it from outside. Extra najasat may be somebody has blood also around, or whatever extra najasat should not come to it. If extra najasat come, it will be najis with extra najasat, not because it is washed water. Third, any other najasat like blood has not come out with urine or stool. With it, sometimes the urine or stool itself, within it there is extra najasat like blood. If somebody is sick and he may got hematuria or like that. 4, particles of a stool does not appear in the water, because he is washing the outlet and sometimes small particles are there. Naturally, if there are particles with the drop of water, that is najis. But if there is no particles, then it is tahir. More than usual najasat has not spread around the outlet. What does it mean? Sometimes one has, let us say, diarrhea or loose stool, and around the outlet will become najis because of the diarrhea. So said that will not be tahir, the washed water is not tahir, but only if it is usual size of najasat around the outlet is najis, which is usually like that. So let us say generally, if somebody wash himself with a small water in the toilet, wash from urination or from stool, usually the water, if doesn't change its smell, color or taste, if there is no extra impurity, if it is not mixed with other impurity like blood, and if the usual size of najasat is there and there is no original particles of najasat, then the water is tahir, though it's splashed, but that water is tahir. Naturally, you see the drops. If there is original impurity, you will see it. It will be the drop become red. If there is a blood or with the stool, its color. If it is not, then usually there is no change of color or taste or smell. There is no original impurity, no extra impurity, so usually it is tahir. And this is, as you see, is a very practical problem one is facing in most of the toilets, or if he is traveling in desert or so on, when he wash himself with usually small water, and that practical problem he is facing. So this what he discussed about under Kurr water is only to understand what is under Kurr water. Now, how many times to wash if the body gets najis, or if the clothes get najis or utensils are get najis, that will be discussed on the subject of najasat. Then he will say there, if you are washing the utensil, for example, with running water, 1 time is sufficient. If you are washing it with the small water, 2 times, or maybe better 3 times, and so on. Those details will come. If it is a cloth, you need to squeeze it, or you don't need to squeeze it. Is it first time to squeeze, second time to squeeze, 3 times to squeeze, how many times? If the najis is by licking the dog, is different. So those details will come. Now here, just to let you know what is the definition and the meaning of under Kurr water and what are the issues applicable to it. We come to the third type of water, which is running water. Issue 29. He discussed running water in 2 ways. Sometimes the water which comes out of a spring, whatever water you take, again, water will gush. That is called running because it is continuous. Or running water, which is water in the tap, which is used at the houses. When you take the water is connected to the city water, and the water is continuous. This is called running water. Issue 29. Running water is that water which springs forth from the earth and then flows, like the water of a spring or a canal. The flowing or running water, even if it is less than Kurr, does not become najis upon contact with any najasat, unless its smell, color, or taste change due to that najasat. So, if it is running water from a canal or from well, though size of the water, amount of the water at the moment is less than Kurr, if your hand is najis and is put there, will not be najis. Why? Because it is already in contact with water underground. When you take the water will gush, will spring, will come out, will not finish. You take water from the well and underground water will come continuously. Or if it is in the tap, naturally, the tap water, whether it is connected to a container more than Kurr upstairs, or if it is connected directly to the water pipes of the city, there is a huge amount of water and it's called running water. Issue 30, if najasat reaches the running water, only that part of the water will be najis whose smell, color, or taste changes on account of it. And that end which is connected with the spring will be tahir, even if it may be less than a Kurr. Similarly, the water on the other side of the canal will be tahir, if it is equal to a Kurr, or if it is connected with the water near the spring through unchanged water. If not, then it will be najis. Now again, these are practical examples he gives. You have spring water here in a small fountain, and then the water move for agriculture or anything, and it become in another canal connected to this spring. Now, if the water in the canal is more than Kurr, naturally no problem. If you wash your hand with the blood, with urine, it's okay, will be tahir. If it is less than Kurr and connected with the spring water, because we say spring water is running water, so again connected with the running water. But if somebody come and wash his hand with the blood, at the place of connection, spring water with the canal water, the water become red with the blood. We say in Kurr water, only that part of water which become red, or its color, smell, or taste changed by najasat will be najis. The rest are tahir. The spring itself is tahir, though it is under Kurr, because it is connected with running water. But the canal, if it is less than Kurr, will be najis. So that become a problem one has to avoid. So if has to wash, not at the opening of the canal where it is connected to the spring, but from other side of the spring. This happens at the areas where they do irrigation of water. The place of canal coming water, and then water move, and if it is water less than Kurr, and let us say a dog comes and drink water from head of the canal, naturally he will get all the water become najis. So one has to avoid head of the canal unless the size of water in canal is more than water. Issue 31, a spring which does not run or flow, but replaces water every time water is drawn from it, will not be treated as running water. That means if najasat reaches it, and if it is less than Kurr, it will become najis. So saying that what we mean by running water, that if we take water from the well or from a spring, the water will gush continuously. But sometimes if you take the water for 2 hours, 3 hours, there will be no water, till gradually the water ooze from the ground and will be collected and come back. So it shows it is not running. So it said that is not regarded as running water. Issue 33, if a spring is active in winter but remains dormant in summer, it will be treated as running water only when it is active. Naturally, if there is running water in winter is regarded as running water. If in summer, usually water is scarce and not sufficient, if you take the water, then water will not be filled right away. It may take few hours, so it shows it is not running water. Issue 34, if the water in a pool or tank of a public bath is less than a Kurr, but is connected with a store of water which when added to it becomes equal to a Kurr, it does not become najis by meeting najasat if its smell, color or taste does not change. You know, the public bath in certain countries is available. There is a small fountain of water. When you come out of the bath, you wash your feet and then you pass. But that fountain of water is not Kurr usually, but it is connected with Kurr water. So if it is connected with Kurr water, then it is okay, regarded as Kurr water, though it is a small amount. Unless your leg has too much blood, for example, or dirt or najasat, that when you wash it, the smell, taste or color will change. We said even with Kurr water, whatever water will change its smell or color or taste will be najis. See, all these are practical examples of life. You know, you should know the details, but if you know the general rule, naturally you can apply it yourself, but these are practical applications of it. Issue 35, if water from the pipes fitted in bathrooms and buildings pouring through taps and showers is connected to a tank holding water equal to a Kurr, it will be treated as Kurr water. Here, as we said, the tap water, because it's connected with Kurr, either with the tank upstairs or with the city pipes, then it's regarded as Kurr. But still some of the ulama, like it is related to Ayatullah Khui, he was a bit cautious about it. He said it may not be regarded as Kurr because a small pipe's connection is not sufficient. What is meant is if it is big pipe and it is connected, you know, so the water is moving together, so you regard it both one water. Now here, small pipe and connected with, let us say, the municipality pipes is not regarded as, but usually the ulama said no, it is regarded as Kurr water and running water because it is connected with already Kurr water. Issue 36, any water which flows but does not gush from a source will become najis on contacting najasat if it is less than Kurr. But if water flows with force and najasat touches it, at the end part below the upper end will not become najis. Again, this is a practical example. Sometimes the water which moves on the floor, if it is moved constantly and meet najasat, will be najis unless it is Kurr, you know. But if it is like spring come from up down, pouring down, even if there is najasat down, najasat will not go up through the water coming down, you know, so will not be najis, you know. So if somebody has to wash his hand, when the water is coming down, he can wash his hand because the water will clean it. If you put it inside, and if it is less than Kurr, become najis. If it is too much, more than Kurr, actually still is okay. We come to the fourth type of water, and that is rainwater. As we said, all waters are the same, are water, but the differences they made because the way it remove impurity is different. So we will see now rainwater will remove impurity in a different way than small water or running water or Kurr water, and that is in the following issues. Issue 37, a najis becomes tahir if rain's water falls on it once, provided that it does not contain an essential najasat, except in the cases of clothes and body which has become najis because of urine, for they become tahir after being washed twice, as per precaution, and in objects like carpet and dress, it is not necessary to wring or squeeze. By rain is meant a sufficient downpour and not scanty shower or droplets. To make it short, the rain drops is like Kurr water, though it is drops, will not come together, but is regarded like Kurr water. So if somebody's hand is najis, if original impurity is not there, if original impurity is there, naturally first has to be removed. If original impurity is not there, if you wash it with rainwater only once, will be tahir. But he said, if it is impure by urine, as a precaution, 1 time is not sufficient, 2 times. Now, if the cloth is najis by urine, and you remove original impurity with the urine or blood, first you wash it with soap, blood is not there, urine is not there. Now, in cloth or carpet, they said it has to be squeezed in order the washed water comes out. But you see, if the najasat is there, you remove it. When you put water, it is like a sponge. The cloth will take the water. So that water, you have to squeeze it out. We call ghusala, the washed water. That should go out. And then you pour water again, and then squeeze it, and again, and squeeze it till 3 times or 2 times, whatever it is. So now, with rainwater, is it necessary to squeeze it? According to some ulama, they said yes, you have to squeeze it. So the washed water with najasat, let us say the dirty water, all will come out, and clean water will substitute that. According to Ayatullah Al-Sistani, said is not sufficient. If you put water and the water is there, and you put again and again, if it is raining on it, then it will be tahir and no need for squeezing. But as I said, some of the ulama, they insist that squeezing is necessary. And as I said, the squeezing may be 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, depends how many times it will be tahir. Because if it is with urine, they may say 3 times. If it is with the blood, may say 2 times or 1 time. But some said squeezing is necessary. Now here in rainwater, according to Ayatullah Al-Sistani, he said even the squeeze is not necessary. And he said by rain is meant is sufficient. Now by raining, if a few drops come from the sky, you call it raining? Yeah, well, maybe in literal language, okay, water raining, but this is not real rain, it's a few drops from the sky. So you say by rainwater when there is sufficient amount of water coming, and we call it rainwater, not only few drops coming. That is not regarded as rainwater. Issue 38. If rainwater falls on najis al-ain and splashes elsewhere, and if the essential najasat is not found in the water, nor does it acquire the smell, color or taste of the najasat, then that water is tahir. So if it rains on a blood and then splash, and particles of blood are seen in the water, or it acquires the smell, color or taste of blood, it is najis. As I said, the drop of the rain regarded like Kurr water, it is 1 drop. If it come on original impurity and then splash on my cloth, some impurity is on the floor, on the ground, on the street. Rain comes and it splashed to me. Then that water, if it has original impurity in it, or smell, taste, or color has been changed, naturally it is najis. But if it is not changed, you say it is tahir, because rainwater, as we said, the drops of rainwater is like cold water. If it comes and gush, it will not become najis by meeting the najis. But if you wash with the small water, if it gush, it will be naturally najis. That is the difference of rainwater with small water. Issue 39, if there is najisul ayn, means original impurity, on the roof of a building and water flows down from the roof after contacting the najis object, it will be deemed tahir as long as the rain continues. But if it continues to flow down the same way after contacting the najis object after the rain has stopped, that water will be najis. There are certain roofs in the Middle East, maybe not applicable in the roofs here, The people sleep in the roof at night, Sometimes the children, they may make the roof najis, with urine, with the stool, become najis, Or sometimes mouse is there and the filth of the mouse is there, When it rains, the water will come and then through the pipes will come down to the house, So what about that water? It said as long as rain is continuous, it is regarded like Kurr water, unless there is particles of the najasat is there, then it is not najis. But if rain stops, naturally the water is little water contacting najis. If it is not cleaned by rain, sometimes it will be cleaned by rain, but if it is not, then become najis. Of course, this is known, the idea, but only he gives practical examples of life of the people. If they face that, they should know the issues. Issue 40, the najis earth or ground on which rain falls become tahir, and if it begins flowing on the ground and while it is still raining, it reaches a najis place under the roof, it makes the place tahir as well. Again, because it is like Kurr water, so if it come to the ground will be tahir, and if it is moved to other area which is najis, can clean it. Though rain not directly on it, but continuous rainwater is coming and water is flowing. So that water, because it's in touch with the rainwater, is regarded like Kurr water, though it is a small amount of water, but it's regarded like Kurr water and will remove the original impurities and make the other parts as tahir. Issue 41, if rainwater falls on najis dust or sand, soaking it thoroughly, it becomes tahir. Well, najis dust, like a clay, it is inside najis, like a sponge. Inside of it is najis, for example. A sponge, you clean najis thing or urine or something with it, and inside become najis. Either you have running water, so you can fill the sponge and then squeeze it and fill it 2 or 3 times, whatever it is, so you make it tahir. But if it is under rainwater, will fill the sponge or fill the clay or dust and goes inside, will make it tahir as long as it is continuous, because as you said, it is like Kurr water. Issue 42, if rainwater collects at a place, even if its quantity is less than a Kurr, and the najis thing is washed in it while it is running, it becomes tahir, provided that it does not assume the smell, color, or taste of that najasat. Again, as we said, the rainwater is like Kurr water, so if the small amount of water meeting najasat, as long as rain is continuous, that little water is regarded like Kurr water, is cleaning the najasat. And the water which flow, if original impurity goes and there is no smell or taste or color of najasat, then it is tahir. Issue 43, if it rains on a pure carpet which is spread over a najis ground, and if the water seeps onto the najis ground while rain continues, the carpet does not become najis. In fact, the ground also will be tahir. Again, now, if you have a carpet and the children, they came from the bathroom, his leg is having urine, for example, and he made all the carpet as najis, you want to make it tahir. Either you take the carpet when you can wash it with running water, with spray until it's soaked with water, and then squeeze if squeezing is necessary, depend on fatwa of the marja. Or if it is raining, you put it outside in the park of the house or on the ground in the street outside. When it is raining, the rainwater will, if you wash it, it become tahir. Now, if the ground below it is najis, in the street, in the park, and dogs are walking there and the ground is najis, will the carpet from below become najis because it's meeting a najis floor? He said, as long as the water fill the carpet and passes to the floor also will become tahir, because as we said, it is regarded like Kurr water. So it is like if you put the carpet with the let us say whatever bricks below it in Kurr water, how all of it will be tahir. Here the same thing, because rainwater is there and even the floor will be tahir and the carpet will be tahir. These are some of the issues about the rainwater, and we leave the rest of the issues of well water inshallah to the next session. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.